On a dark night, many of us would consider it unwise to walk the streets in the dark. This is something we've all thought about at one point in our lives.
However, have you ever considered that the lights that illuminate the streets could be dangerous? Well, people have, and it can be traced back to 5G. Released in most major cities in the UK in 2019, 5G is the fifth generation of wireless communication technology. It allows for faster communications between wireless mobile devices. As it seems, however, many people have objected to the rollout of this technology due to the concerns surrounding the supposed health risks 5G can spread. This discontent spread across towns and cities in the UK, including Gateshead, where notable campaigner Mark Steele proposed that the council was secretly testing 5G weapons in street lamps, which of course Gateshead Council vehemently denied. The question is Steele just another crazy conspiracy theorist or a misunderstood truth teller? I guess we'll just have to find out.
Right, I'm here in Newcastle with Mark Steele, and do you want to tell us about what just happened by there?
Well, what's just happened, unbeknownst to the general public, we've just been scanned with biometric scanners that were deployed illegally on top of these transport pedestrian crossings, and this is part of a technology called Fusion. Fusion, I know about Fusion Technologies. Fusion Technology is off the battlefield. It's battlefield-derived equipment. And I'm just going to show you, and I have one of these meters here.
So you got that.
You hear the radiation. Now that radiation level is catastrophic. This is what's coming off the top of here. You can see the scanner, they're designed to run hot. Every single pedestrian crossing, you're being irradiated. So you come to Newcastle and get radiated to death. That's good of them, isn't it? Really good of them.
So, Mark, to start off with, could you tell us, a bit about yourself and who you are?
Well, I've got quite an interesting background. If anybody goes and looks on Wikipedia, I've got my own. I'm a conspiracy theorist. That's what they call us. However, if you understand what a theory is from a scientific perspective, it means that everything I'm saying is correct. There is a conspiracy, and someone's conspiring to do us harm.
So, would you agree with the conspiracy theorist label, or would you call it something else?
I don't mind sticking with the English term. You see, when the government took me to court in 2018 to try and gag me, because they said I was a conspiracy theorist and I was frightening the general public by telling them that the government was planning to kill them.
So, as you mentioned earlier, there was a pretty high-profile court case in 2018. Could you tell us about what it was like from your perspective?
Well, what happened? I went to Gateshead Council and I spoke at the council chamber about, these dangerous LED lights in the 5G network, and I was basically laughed at. So after that, I then went on a campaign to tell people that the equipment that had been deployed was dangerous. They were murdering babies in the womb. It causes calcification of the womb, and then you lose the baby at near full term. So then after that, I then had the coppers coming to my door. They filed papers, took us to court to try and gag us. And they were going to gag me because what they said was I was frightening vulnerable people. They said people believed us and they were in fear. Well, I'd be in fear.
While the judge may have removed Mark's gagging order, you can really tell there was a sense of disbelief coming from Gateshead Council. That's why I'm speaking to Gateshead councillor Jonathan Wallace, who was personally involved in this case.
Well, I'm a councillor here in Gateshead, and I have been for 38 years.
Could you tell us a bit about how you first encountered Mark Steele?
I actually went to school with him. I didn't really know him at school. He was a couple of years ahead of me. More recently, I first came across him about 8 to 9 years ago when he was running a campaign against streetlights in Gateshead, and he phoned me up one day and told me about his theories about all of it. I politely listened. I was sort of nodded my head and like this to him. And I was sitting there thinking, I've got better things to do than listen to this rubbish.
So, as you may know, in 2018 there was a pretty well-documented court case involving Mark Steele and 2 Gateshead councillors. Do you mind telling us a bit about that?
Right. I was one of the councillors who was a witness for Gateshead. And what happened was that I was ambushed by the Steele twins, because you're both Mark and Graham Steele, where they started screaming abuse at me, and they filmed me whilst they were screaming at me. The council, at the time, the chief executive and the leader of the council thought that this had gone too far, because we were getting other incidents of them being verbally abusive to our council staff, and there was a decision taken to effectively go to court to get a restraining order on them to stop the harassment of councillors and staff. The bit that I didn't agree with was this idea that he could be ordered not to talk about 5G in public, and I was uncomfortable with that, because at the end of the day, we live in a democracy and people are free to express their own views.
With so much pushback from Steele's claims, it makes me wonder, why do people harbour such distrust from the establishment to follow what Steele is saying? To find out more, I'll be speaking to comedian and YouTuber Reynard Wilson, who runs the Mind of Steele YouTube channel. What do you think draws people to what Mark Steele is saying?
People always want to have the inside track. People want to believe that they have special knowledge. And if you embrace the conspiracy theory, if you believe what they're telling you, then you're suddenly accessing secret knowledge that nobody else has access to. And it makes you feel great. That's why people do it. Conspiracy theories make the believers feel like they're geniuses, truth tellers, people who have seen through the matrix, people who are seeing the truth when all around them everybody else is blind. The more bizarre Mark Steele's theories are, the more attractive they are to a certain kind of potential believer.
So, if you were given advice to someone, what would you tell them to look out for?
The most important, the best bit of advice is knowledge. We've all got the internet now, so a lot of the stuff I talk about, you can go and dig it up, Some of it is hidden, and what I'm going to say is speak out, do something about it.